So we are literally right hot off the heels of the LEGO Star Wars January 2026 wave being revealed with a leak of the entire LEGO Star Wars March wave. And if you don't know, this March wave is going to be the infamous Smart Brick wave. And I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about these things over the past few months, and some of you guys maybe not have heard anything about these. But before we dive into the sets that were leaked, I guess I'll just go ahead and give a brief recap of what these are supposed to be. Basically, it's a new special piece that LEGO has been working on for a long time, and it will be able to light up, it'll be able to make sounds, and it will be able to kind of change how the set works depending on how you interact with it. And from what I know, it will also be able to connect to an app, so you'll be able to interact with it with your phone or tablet or something. I'll put a lot of pictures up on the screen right now that have a more in-depth explanation about them, so you can pause and read if you want to. But basically, it's just new technology that LEGO's adding to sets, and this Smart Brick alone is not the only thing they're adding. They're also going to be adding what they call smart minifigures, which are basically just minifigures that will be able to interact with the Smart Brick in some way. And even sets that don't include these specific Smart Bricks will still be able to interact with other sets that do include them. It'll all be under this kind of giant curtain that LEGO is calling Smart Play, and that is what this entire March wave is going to be. None of these are going to be normal sets. There are a total of 8 sets releasing, and 3 of them are going to include the actual Smart Brick, and the other 5 are going to be compatible with the Smart Brick, so they're not going to include one, but they'll still be able to work with one. But diving right into it, the very first one is going to be 75423 Luke's X-Wing with 584 pieces and a retail price of $100 US. And it's going to include 2 smart minifigures, that being Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing pilot outfit along with Princess Leia. And it's also going to include 3 regular figures, that being a Stormtrooper, a Rebel Technician, and R2-D2. And then this is one of the sets that's going to include the actual Smart Brick itself. And it's also going to include a wireless charger for the Smart Brick, which is definitely part of why this set is probably so expensive, because it has a freaking wireless charger in it. It just makes this whole thing so unnecessary. I mean, first off, we don't even need technology like this in LEGO sets. Every time LEGO has tried to do it in the past, it has crashed and burned and failed miserably. The only time they've actually succeeded and made a good product with putting technology in their sets was with Mindstorms back in like the early 2000s or whenever that released. But besides that, every time they've tried to put technology in their sets, it has not done well. And I think this is just going to end up being another example of that, because nobody wants this. I mean, nobody wants technology forced into LEGO sets. I feel like LEGO sets are one of the main products that's out right now that's actually an escape from technology. But now we're getting crap like this that's just overpriced and unnecessary and stuff nobody wanted or asked for. But I don't know, excuse me for my rant there, but moving on, this set is also going to include some side builds, that being a small Imperial turret along with a Rebel ground crew vehicle and some other small Rebel build. And the X-Wing with the Smart Brick inside of it will be able to interact with these in some way. And now regarding the actual X-Wing build itself, as some of you guys might remember, a picture of this actually leaked a few months ago, and I put it on my community tab, but I had to take it down within like less than an hour of me posting it due to copyright stuff. But basically, to put it bluntly, the X-Wing looks freaking terrible, and as you might have seen, someone actually made a sketch of it, and here's the sketch right here. It looks like a 4+ set for literally $100, and then some unnecessary technology crammed into it. It's just kind of ridiculous, and honestly, based off this sketch right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that every other set that's including the actual Smart Brick itself is gonna look just as stupid as this one is, meaning that it's probably gonna look like a dumbed down 4+ set build and not the standard playset version of these ships that we're used to. So yeah, based off this first set of the wave right here, it's not looking too good. Moving on though, the next one is gonna be 75421 Vader's TIE Advanced with 473 pieces and a retail price of $70 US, and it's going to include Darth Vader as a smart fig along with a normal minifigure that's going to be a Rebel soldier, and it too is going to have the actual Smart Brick itself and a wireless charger along with the smart tags too. And then like the X-Wing, it will also include some side builds, that being a small Rebel turret and a small Imperial build to interact with it. We don't have a leaked picture of this one, and we also don't even have a sketch of what it's going to look like, so obviously I can't judge its appearance right now, but based off the ugliness of that X-Wing, I'm just going to go ahead and assume this one is going to look pretty ugly too, and other than that, I don't really have anything to say about it. Moving on though, next up we have the third and final set that is going to include the actual Smart Brick itself. Again, the rest of them are just going to be compatible but not actually include the brick, and this third one is going to be 75427 Throne Room Duel with 962 pieces and a retail price of $150, including Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, and Luke Skywalker all as smart minifigures, and then as regular minifigures we're going to get an A-Wing pilot along with 2 Royal Guards. And this one right now is rumored to include 2 of these Smart Brick pieces, along with of course a wireless charger and smart tags. And then on this post right here, it has a pretty in-depth description of what the build is probably going to look like, saying the build is a round platform with long axles to use to make the minifigures duel, and then it says similar to 7257, which if you guys don't know, that's the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan duel set from 2005. So I guess this new Emperor's Throne Room duel is going to look similar to that one. And then it's going to have two side builds, that being a Death Star 2 turret and an A-Wing, which is kind of random. And then it says the smart brick will interact with both of these side builds. So I do have to say this one definitely does sound a bit more intriguing than the other two do. I do still think this whole smart play concept in general is ridiculous, but compared to the other two, this one does definitely kind of grab my attention. But other than that, I really don't have much to say about it. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what the side builds are going to look like. Well, actually, I assume the A-Wing is probably going to be downscaled, similar to the Y-Wing that came out in 2023 in that Yavin 4 set, or maybe even like the 4+ A-Wing, so I would not get my hopes up for that. But I mean, other than that, I really don't know what to say about this one. I still think the concept as a whole is ridiculous, but this one is kind of intriguing. But moving on though, next up we have the sets that don't include smart bricks. They're just going to be normal sets, or allegedly normal sets that are compatible with the smart brick sets. And the first one is going to be 75420 Luke's Landspeeder with 255 pieces and a retail price of $40 US, including Farm Boy Luke as a smart figure, which actually leaked already. Here's a picture of it. And then a Jawa and a Gonk droid as its regular minifigures. And then of course it's going to include the smart tag, which I assume is the piece that's going to make it compatible with the actual smart brick sets. And then apparently it's also going to include a Tatooine hut side build. So while $40 for 255 pieces is definitely overpriced, by the looks of it, it seems like this is thankfully just going to be a normal set with an option to pair it with a smart brick set if you want to do that. So I assume the actual Landspeeder itself is going to look like the normal playset Landspeeders that we've been used to for so long, and not like some crappy 4+ slot build. So that's definitely kind of promising. However, the next set does not sound promising, that being 75424 ATSD with 347 pieces and a retail price of $50 US, including a Scout Trooper as a smart minifigure and an Ewok. So I guess for some reason no ATSD driver. And then it is also going to include the smart tag piece, which will make it compatible with the smart brick sets, and it will also include a speeder bike as a side build. But then also on this little post I'm looking at here, it says that the ATSD is going to have a giant head, which is just like, okay, what's that supposed to mean? Does that mean this ATSD is just gonna look stupid and have an oversized head? I guess so. So like, what the heck is even that? It seems like they're just not going to make a normal ATSD. They're gonna make a dumb looking one for whatever reason. And it's not even going to include an ATSD driver. It's going to include just a Scout Trooper and an Ewok. Like, I mean, what are we even doing here? I really hope there's just some information about this set that hasn't surfaced yet or something. But if that's not the case, and this right here is all it is, that's really concerning. Up next though, we have 75422 Dagobah Training with 440 pieces and a retail price of $70 US, including a Dagobah version of Luke Skywalker as a smart fig, as well as Yoda as a smart fig too, and then R2-D2 as a regular minifigure, and then of course the smart tag to connect it to other smart brick sets. And it says the build is obviously going to be Yoda's hut, which is expected, along with a side build that's going to be a tree that has a lever hidden on the inside that will be able to like lift up a crate or something. Now, based on the piece count, 440 pieces, I assume the hut is actually going to be a decent size relative to the 2018 one. I think that's when it released, because that one only had about 200 pieces and it was a decent size too. So despite the awful price tag of $70, I actually think Yoda's hut itself in the set might look decent. But then as for the rest goes, I mean, I really don't have anything to say. It's just going to be another Yoda's hut that's very overpriced due to this smart brick stuff. On the bright side though, next up we have a set that I think actually might be pretty solid, that being 75425 Mos Eisley Cantina with 666 pieces and a retail price of $80 US, and it's going to include Greedo as a smart fig, and then for the regular figures it's going to include two of the musicians along with a Sand Trooper and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then on this poster here it also says it might include additional figures on top of that, and then of course the smart tag. But the reason I say this might be redeemable is because it says that the main build is going to be similar to the 2014 Mos Eisley Cantina, and it's going to include a brick built dewback as a side build. So compared to the other sets on this list, I actually think this one has potential to be the best, or at least for the price. It's $80, 666 pieces, and to put that into perspective, I'm pretty sure the 2014 model was $70, and according to this post right here, this new one is going to have relatively the same type of build, so a $10 price increase over, 12 years really isn't that bad. And it's also going to include a brick built dewback, which are always cool things to get. So yeah, I know this video has been pretty negative so far, but I think this set is actually going to have some redeemable incredible qualities, and I'm personally pretty excited to see the official images of it. But unfortunately, it might be the only highlight of this wave, because lastly we have 75426, a Millennium Falcon with 885 pieces and a retail price of $100, including Han Solo and Chewbacca as smart figs, along with C-3PO as a regular fig, and then it says an unknown style Farm Boy Luke, so I don't know what that means. So yeah, a playscale Millennium Falcon with 885 pieces. I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean, it actually might literally be the same size as the mini-scale Millennium Falcon, but somehow able to fit minifigures on the inside. I mean, yeah, I have no idea how this is gonna work. It's probably gonna end up looking pretty ridiculous, just like the X-Wing. So there we have it. That is the entire March Smart Brick Wave, a topic that has been making its rounds in the community for the past few months, and now we finally know every set that's releasing. And yeah, for the millionth time, it's not looking very good. Based on the information so far, I think the only redeemable set is gonna be the Cantina and maybe Luke's Landspeeder. But other than those two, I have very, very low expectations. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing. And if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.